find a way to get home.
Well, it was a 4-year process, which was, I mean, like an emotional roller coaster. We're first-time film directors. We're just trying to get people to, like, trust us with lots of money to make a movie. But in retrospect, I'm really glad it took so long, because we rewrote the script like 3 or 4 times. We used that time to pour more detail into this original sci-fi world, make more concept art, really think things out. And I think it's a much, much better movie because of that long incubation period. Yeah.
I mean, that was definitely one of the very intentional strategic angles we took for the film, even from the time we were making the short. And in the short film, we were able to kind of establish a lot of the flavor of the world and kind of the basic premise. But one of the things we set out to do with this film was to see how far we could push an indie-level budget in the space of the practicals, like the production design manifested in real physical objects and the suits, the costumes, the props, the sets. And so that's kind of one of the kind of behind-the-scenes aspirations of the film, was to do an indie sci-fi work that kind of, was trying to get at that classic Star Wars feel, the Alien, the kind of sci-fi films that aren't in front of green screens that you feel like you can reach out and touch and hold on to. So.
Well, it made it easier with the spacesuit, actually. It was hard at first, just getting used to it, but a couple weeks in, I became accustomed to the helmet and the visor. Once I put the helmet on, it felt like I was delving into this universe of prospects. And working with Pedro was amazing. At first, I was a bit intimidated by him because it was my first feature, and I was just feeling things out. But we became really close, and as the story progresses, our characters become close too, so that happened kind of organically.
I mean, the helmets were
I got really used to it, yeah.
They were a really unique challenge for the whole cast, and I don't know if we have the record, but we've got to be close to kind of the most lines of dialogue recorded in a completely enclosed helmet.
I want someone to figure that out.
Yeah. Which, it's a challenge for the actors because, their voices are bouncing around in their heads, and we had to kind of develop a lot of interesting ways to kind of accommodate that. You quickly realize why so many science fiction films try to get their characters out of helmets as quickly as possible. I mean, essentially, by the end of it, we had pit crews for each actor, where after every time we yelled cut, the visor would come off, they'd be wiping it down with anti-fog, there's all kinds of ventilation happening.
F1 pit team, just getting in there, with the way the costume's so complicated. But yeah, every time I see a YouTube comment, even on the trailer, they're like, wait, they don't take their helmets off in this movie. I'm like, yes, we didn't. We suffered.
Absolutely. I mean, aesthetically, a lot of inspiration drawn from the classics, from what we said, Star Wars, Alien, Blade Runner, that kind of aesthetic. But we are very excited and hope to kind of be participating in kind of this more I guess, what was the word you used? This kind of more intellectual science fiction, I suppose. One of the things that we were really striving to do with this film was to kind of capture that feeling of immersion, where you don't hold the viewer's hand, you don't hold the audience's hand through the world. It's not putting a lot of words in the character's mouth that are explaining what's happening in bits of the world. We wanted that to be evident through the density of the details in the production design, where you pick up bits and pieces and piece together the feeling that this is an interconnected, alive world, and we're just watching, we're observing this part of it. And so I think, if anything, that's one of the things we're trying to do, is the experiences you kind of get put in over your head, and then you kind of have to piece together, what this world is comprising of.
Yeah, I mean, through the development of Prospect, we kind of started making our own Wikipedia, because it's you introduce a new kind of subculture or a new character, and you got to figure out their backstory and where they're from, and the economics of everything are really important to us. We want to make sure it kind of makes sense from an economic standpoint. So I feel like we actually have already fleshed out kind of the whole off-world that you don't see in the film, and we're ready to tell more stories there.
Yeah, when you establish a world, you hope to be able to kind of capitalize on it for as many storytelling opportunities opportunities as you can. There were like bits of scripts or even drafts of like full drafts of scripts that we had worked on that kind of were set in the same universe, maybe at a different time period. And some of these ideas we're hoping to kind of coalesce and capitalize on as a television series or some other form of that. But yeah, it's definitely kind of a vibe and an aesthetic that we would like to tell more stories within. I feel like a lot of it, I mean, I don't know, I think part of it is sort of acknowledging the achievement in terms of the budget. I think that's one of the things that, like, when we're kind of in the mix with all the big, like, superhero movies and blockbusters, I mean, we're very excited about that opportunity. At the same time, it's very much at its roots, in its DNA, it's an indie film that's trying to stretch the dollar.
It's an indie movie made by people who like are in love with science fiction. So like, you know, no, it's like, you know, we had like the budget of like half of a Marvel fight scene, but like we pushed it as far as we could. And I think people who like love science fiction, love like Alien and Blade Runner and like a lot of the stuff from the 70s and 80s will kind of see where we're coming from.
.742 requesting release.
I'm here to harvest. I have the location of a massive deposit of Orlac. The Queen's Lair. By my estimation, it's the largest anyone's ever seen. Someone is approaching.
Where are you from?
Nowhere.
How poetic.
The Queen's Lair.
Where is it?
Drop it!
Now, this is something I have never seen. In all my time in the green. A little girl.
We're in the same trough, you and I.
You don't have a ship?
No, I don't.
But you will find a way
To get home.
if you find that buried treasure.
Why should I trust you? You're a killer.
I am indeed. But are you? I can offer protection. I say together we ravage the Queen's Lair.
Even split.
Of course.
I sustained a wound. I was hoping you had some juice.
Here is our offer. I don't understand.
For the girl.
That is a bold offer.
Well, you're gonna have to trust me.
You're trying to trick me.
It was all in the name of self-preservation, Bertie. It was nothing personal.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end. You can subscribe here to subscribe to the channel. There's more videos off to the left. Mr. J says don't forget to ring that bell button for more notifications.